Hey everybody, this is Greg Ryder, and welcome to our web class today. That's my new term for everything, web class. So I don't like webinar anymore, I decided. So I'm going to go with web class. So, because Google Hangout is like, what's a Hangout for some people? And who knows? This is our web class. So tonight's web class is titled Tripwires, and this is going to be some awesome content. And if you don't know what a tripwire is, you're in for a great treat. And the bottom line is the tripwire is probably the most significant thing you can do to optimize your funnel and to make money online as well as offline. We're going to focus kind of on the online and not, well, we're going to do both actually. But you got to think about that for a second. You got to think about how significant this is. And I got to tell you, it's just magical when if you have the right tripwire and you combine it with the optimization of the back end of the funnel. It literally is the difference between making a fortune and going broke. So with that being said, Cliff is going through the background. Well, at least you got to do is wave when you come in. Bye, guys. All right, cool. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is we're going to jump right into this because this is a content-oriented course. And we're going to be going over some training. And I'm not sure exactly how long this is going to be, but it's going to be what it is. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dive into a PowerPoint that I put together. And for those of you who don't know, this is being brought to you by Report Card Marketing, where we take analytics and online marketing on steroids, and we work with entrepreneurs and small businesses and large businesses and helping them double, triple, and even quadruple their sales. And so this is just one of the group coachings we offer that gets uploaded into our membership portal for our clients. And we do broadcast these live, and then we take them down and put them in the membership site. So let me go ahead and start sharing. We're going to dive right into tonight's course. So what is a tripwire? Now, a tripwire is an irresistible, super low ticket offer that converts prospects into buyers. And what's so magical about a tripwire is when you take somebody from a prospect to a buyer, they treat you different. They read your emails, they open your emails, and the whole relationship is 100% different. And there's also like a physiology that goes with this too. When somebody actually buys, and that's why people, women are shopping crazy and stuff, there's dopamine that's released in the brain, and they actually feel this rush, and they feel better. It's like a proven fact that dopamine's released when people buy, and they get this little high, and they do that, right? So the idea is if you're a prospect and you haven't become a customer, then it's different. It's just a different relationship. But the minute you whip out your credit card or your checkbook or your cash and you buy from me or from anybody else, now you're a customer. Everything is different. Everything has changed. So I'm going to lay a foundation tonight, and I promise you that we're going to give you tons of examples. You're going to really get a handle on what this is like and how this can benefit you. Okay, so let me see here. And as I said in our previous training, excuse me, regarding lead magnets, the same concept applies with tripwires, in that a tripwire has got to be your ideal customer's cheese. What is their cheese? So one of my business partners has a new wine sorbet that he's coming out with, and obviously, wine is a wino's cheese, right? So a wine lover, their cheese is the wine. So it's supposed to be a certain kind of wine or a certain year of wine, right? So what is your customer's cheese? Or maybe like a restaurant that caters, to do a catering job, maybe that's their cheese. Because there's that whole story that a mouse will eat through a steel door to get to the cheese. So you always got to really look at what is the cheese of your customer. And I'm gonna say that the tripwire is so significant that in a lot of situations you can actually eliminate the lead magnet or combine the lead magnet with the tripwire and have that work for itself. So let me dive into an example of one of the all-time greats that everybody remembers, that's probably over 40 years old. Maybe our kids don't remember this, but if you remember seeing this, let me raise your hand and say, yes, I remember seeing this. But, as we grew up as a kid, when they had these 13 records or tapes for $1, right? I did this. Everybody I know my age did this. This was like such an amazing, incredible tripwire that it was one of those offers that you just like, man, that was just, how can I not do this. It just, you feel like a stupid fool or an idiot if you didn't do it. It's just such a great deal. And at the time when this was big, in the late 70s, if I remember correctly, statistics said that 15% of all music sales were done through this online marketing and promotion. And here's the bottom line. The theory is, and the fact is, and the reality of it is it's really, really, really hard to get somebody to buy something from you in today's market. So competitive. There's so many people competing for our money, competing for our dollars, competing for our stuff, that it's hard to get money out of a person the first time. But after you get money out of them the first time and you provide value to them and you give them a good value and you communicate with them through relationship, rapport, and trust, it's a lot easier to get more money out of them the second time. So in the case of this 13 records or tapes for $1, they were losing money with this campaign, right? This was a losing campaign, negative. But they knew their numbers. They knew, hey, for $1, they're going in the whole 20, but and a certain number of those customers are going to be worth $200 or whatever the number was for them, and they did the math and they knew how they could afford to do this, and through the upsells and the downsells and the cross-sells and the lifetime value of a customer made it worthwhile to lose money on the front end and to get into that. So it's a great example that everyone understands. And I want to share with you a little story, and again, a lot of these stories aren't mine, but I want to show them as examples, and I thought this was a great one. So a lawnmower guy, he showed up at a guy's house, and this was the beginning of the season when the grass started growing again, and he knocked on the door and he said, hey, I'll mow your lawn for $5. I'll give you a $40 certificate because I want to show you that I can do a good job, and I'll do everything I would normally do for $45. I'll give you a $40 certificate, and all you got to do is pay me $5 and I'll mow your lawn for you. So, you know, the person said, great, that's awesome, go ahead, mow my lawn for $5. That's a steal. It's like, that's such an irresistible offer. How do you say no to that, right? Especially when you're paying $40 or $50 for the guy that's already mowing your lawn. And then he does a great job, and as he leaves, he gives you a certificate for $30, a coupon for $30. So look, I'll be more than happy to come back next week and do it for $10. The guy comes back and does it for $10, and then he does it the next week, and then he gives you another coupon for $20. And this is kind of like a escalating tripwire, right? But the tripwire was $5. Provide value, get a customer. Did he lose money mowing the person's lawn for $5? Probably, right? That's not good money. But he gained a customer that's now paying $40, $45 a week, or a couple $100 a month, whatever that is, depending on, you know, how often they mow the lawn, over a year, 2 year, 3 year period of time. Now, if I go back to the slide, the other thing he did, and income tax. So, you know, this was an escalating thing. And oh, by the way, the dirty little scoundrel really played a good one on the wife. So, you know, those little baskets that when you go and you're planting flowers in the springtime, you get them from Home Depot, and those little like biodegradable cups that the flowers are in. He left 4 of those on the doorstep with a little note that said, hey, I had some extra ones left over. I thought these were pretty and you might like them. Thank you very much, blah, 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 blah. And here's a coupon for $10 off your next thing, right? And again, he's 75 cents worth of flowers, really building rapport, really going over and above, doing things that the other guys didn't do, and ended up stealing the business. And then he started getting other people in the neighborhood and basically controlled and owned the whole neighborhood. So a tripwire can work for anybody, offline, online, that kind of stuff. I'm going to give you more examples. But then you go back to the extra service. As he then built rapport with that client, got to know him, his wife did income tax returns and did tax stuff for people. So he introduced his wife, did, hey, can we do your stuff, and increase their business that way. So again, the moral of the story is lost leaders, tripwires, get a customer, gain their trust, get more money out of them, offer additional services, extend your product funnel, and make more money. It's just a beautiful model. Now here's an example of a guy that at one point was in the stamp business, where they went around and they would sell the stamps, you know, that you click down, and they had the kind of stamps, confidential stamps, and, you know, just all the different stamps that went around. And then they decided they wanted to expand their business, get into another business, so they bought a franchise for fast signs. And they thought, man, these people are just going to rush in here and start ordering signs from us and doing fast signs. But it turned out that's not what happened. So they went back to all the people that they had sold these little $2 and $5 and $7 stamps to, and said, hey, we now offer signs, would you like to get some signs? And 75% of their sales came from those clients that had bought those stamps. So then they changed their business model now that they have both, and they kept selling the stamps up front as the tripwire, or even giving them away. Hey, we'll give you the stamp. Or actually, giving away is not something that I like to recommend, but a small fee, $1, $2, because again, free is like what's in it, what's the catch, but when you're paying for it, it's irresistible offer, you could do it. But they did a little bit of both, and they really built a successful sign business. So that the stamp became the tripwire to build the rapport. Now they're a customer, they talk to you different, they read your stuff a little bit differently, and it works. Now here's one of the best examples I love that you need to kind of look at this and see if you can find a correlation to your business. So these are candle wicks for the candle business, right? So the story goes is, if you want to be in the candle business, what is the commodity that everybody in the candle making business has to have? That's wicks. So the guy was smart, and he figured out that, man, if I can get people to buy wicks from me as my tripwire, then I can upsell them on fragrances and wax and glass bottles and all kinds of different things. So he was the first one to buy wax or wicks and then offer them at cost, which was basically an 80% discount from everybody else in the market. Literally within 6 months, they had captured about 60% of the nation's business of selling wicks. And then they started upselling everything else, the oil, the fragrances, and all that kind of stuff, and ended up generating a $25 million a year business in the candle making business. And there's kind of a sad ending, or a sad part to the story, is that towards the end of this, when this was really cooking for him, a lady called him up and said, "You win." And she had been in the business for 35 years selling wicks and candles and candle making supplies and all that kind of stuff. And this guy put her out of business after 34 years. So she provided a better product, better service, better customer support, everything. But he outmarketed her and got more clients because he sold the wicks at cost. And then from there, upsold everything else and used the wick as a tripwire to get the customer, build rapport with the customer, and do an amazing deal. So you got to think about, what's the wick in your business? What is that thing that you can offer at cost, blow away your competition, get them to become your customer, and then offer them other products and services about that. So this is like a perfect example of a great tripwire, because if you're in the candle making business and you can buy these wicks for 80% less than anybody else, you're going to buy them, right? It's a wick. I need the wick. So it's kind of like one of those, you'd have to be stupid not to buy these wicks from this person. And then from there, you gotta build the trust, to build the rapport, build that kind of stuff. So that's just a great example of a tripwire, and a physical product tripwire, obviously, too. And a lot of these examples I'm giving you are physical because it's much easier to understand this and kind of work in that with you. So here's another great example. I found this on eBay. And on eBay, here's a guy selling 100 picks, right? So you can't really read that. It's kind of hard to read, but he has 91,855 comments or likes, or not likes, but it's in eBay. I forget what that's called. Oh, positive feedback. It's the feedback button. So he's selling 100 picks for $7.99. Now this is a really good tripwire for a number of reasons. Like, look, first of all, let's talk about what it's a great tripwire because you're really qualifying your customer. Who buys 100 picks? A serious career guitar player or a dealer. No, like if you're a casual guitar player or if you're not a guitar player, you're not going to buy 100 picks. This is a commodity business. So other people sell picks. So this guy says, well, look, I'm going to sell these picks, and I'm going to just sell them at cost, or maybe even sell them at a loss, because he knows anybody who's going to buy 100 picks, or a little for your guitar, you're a serious guitar player. And they made their money selling vintage guitars, very expensive vintage guitars. So they used this to build the database, and then sold other guitar-related products and vintage guitars to make a fortune. So qualified the customers, got rid of the tire kickers, got the exact ideal customer they want. So again, going back to a tripwire, is you got to think of that cheese that attracts the ideal customer, not a customer, but the ideal customer, to really make a fortune on what you're doing. So it's pretty cool stuff. Another example would be this water filter. So this is an example of, this is one of these water filters that typically sold for $13 to $15. It's used in a lot of different filtration systems. And some guys took this and they started selling at their cost, which was like $1.50 to $2. And so they're literally, you know, what's that, 75%, 80% cheaper than every competitor out there. And they started stealing business away because they wanted to sell them the more expensive casings and housings and upsells and all the other stuff that goes with the water filtration business and that kind of mindset of a person. So it's just a great tripwire to do that at cost. And you know what else? The competition thinks you're crazy, right? Can you imagine, like, you're in business and your competitors are going, what are these guys doing selling it for $1.50? They're going to lose their shirts. They're going to be out of business in 6 months. And they're laughing at you as you're stealing all the customers and eventually putting them out of business because you understood that getting a customer and having a long-term strategy as opposed to a short-term solution is a much better way to go and to do what you're doing, right? So it's very, very important you think of it that way. You want to acquire customers, provide value, build trust, and then move on up the chain with additional products and services. Okay, here's a pretty cool one too. So this was one that I'm actually going to take this idea and we're going to implement it with some of the stuff we're doing with Angel Investors Network. And they basically had a whole course for preppers on how to prep for disasters and hurricanes and, you know, all the different stuff, like a whole course. Well, they took out just one piece of the course, which happened to be how to purify any water, even urine, store, drink, and cook after a disaster. So that was just one piece, and they were selling this for $7. So then they sell them on $7 as an impulse buy. And when I talk about tripwires, we really want that number. We don't want price to ever be a factor. We want the tripwire to be priced in such a way that the price is not the issue. The money is not the issue. And sometimes you can get away with higher priced tripwires in different industries. Like in the financial industry, you might be able to get away with a $100 tripwire or a $50 tripwire, but most we're talking $7, $10, $14, $20, and even after $20, people start thinking about it. So we want to think about the lower end of the spectrum where price is not an issue, because we want them to whip out their credit card. We want that dopamine to be released, and then we want them to go from a prospect to a customer. We want them reading the next email. We want them to pay attention to what you're saying, so you have the chance to market to them future stuff. So in this case, it was just one piece of an entire course, $7, and then after they paid their $7 on the thank you page, they went for the upsell to the full course. So, and to give you an example of a campaign and some real statistics in doing this, I want to share with you what happened here. So they had a list of 113,636 people. They marketed them this $7 report. Out of that $7 tripwire, they sold 9,926 of them in 30 days. Then they had 2,536 in the next 30 days buy the entire $47 course. Okay, so basically that's what they marketed. They did the tripwire and the $47 course, and those are the numbers. Now here's the interesting stats: 1,320 sales came from the 9,926 who bought the $7 product. So that's 50%, 52% of the people that bought the $47 course were the $7 people. Then they sold 1,216 sales from the 103,710 prospects that didn't buy the $7 thing. That was 48%. So you look at that and you go, the power of that, it results that the people that bought the $7 tripwire were worth 11 times more than an ordinary prospect. So it's significant when you start running the numbers and you start looking at this and you start really figuring out what is the best ideal tripwire for you to run with your business and what you're doing. Now here's another one that we're getting ready to do, and I actually bought this tripwire and loved it, but it was a software that kind of, they marketed it as it was an Amazon spy tool to kind of tell you what was hot on Amazon, called FreshKey. It's a very cool little search engine, and we have a little software that's a very real cool search engine for Facebook. But the idea was they sold this for $20, and then they upsold a $300 course on how to, I think, get your book listed on Amazon and market your book on Amazon, and how to become, just do a bestseller on Amazon. I'm not sure, but it was a $300 course. And what was really cool about this Tripwire is a $20 course, and software is a great Tripwire. And software is a good Tripwire for a couple reasons. One is it's very great value. You can go license somebody else's software, even like us. Anybody you see who has a software program and you need a software program that kind of ties into what you're doing, go call somebody up and say, let me license your software. Pay them a fee and license it. We have a hard cost in development of our software, and every time we can sell it, we're going to sell it. So I've licensed software, I've licensed our software, and we've created software. So it's a cool thing with that. And the other thing with Google and doing PPC ads, if you're trying to run ads on Google and do them pay-per-click, they don't really like landing pages and squeeze pages, but if you're selling them to a software and you're selling software, you can get away with it, then you're upselling your course, you can really get some good stuff going on there. So it's very, very cool that you use software as a tripwire going into something else. So now with this one, they had 24% conversions on the upsell. So every person that bought the $20 software program, 24% of them bought the $300 course. Now that's nice conversions, right? Then as it tapered off, they still maintained a 15 to 18% conversion for months. But here was another interesting thing about this. In the digital information age, when you're selling digital information and courses, a lot of people can have returns upwards of 20%. Now, I don't ever have returns that high. My returns run between maybe 3 and 8%. But these guys that do millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars way outside of my league, they're getting returns on digital information upwards of 20% because there's like professional purchasers and returners type things out there, right? But what was interesting is the people that bought the Tripwire, the software, then bought the course, as compared to the people that just bought the course, they had 1/3 of the refunds that they normally would have for people that bought the course. So that's pretty interesting stats, right? 1/3. So they lowered their refunds by 2/3 by putting a Tripwire in front of the $300 course. So that's just great, great stuff. It's just a great, great example of what's going on, what you're doing there. So now here's another example that you could do, and using a webinar as a Tripwire. And this is Digital Marketer, and they've done this, and this is where I've kind of learned most of the stuff. I'm actually a certified funnel expert through Digital Marketer's training program, and this is all their content that we've implemented and we use and we teach and we train for our clients. And what's really cool about this, the one that really got me hooked is they were doing a webinar. It was $7. So it was a little $7 Tripwire to attend the webinar, but then they really got me because they said 100% of the $7 was going to a charity. So, man, that's like, yeah, I didn't want to pay for a webinar because you always get these free webinars out there. But I'm like, man, $7 going to charity. I'm going to buy the webinar. Well, they found out that they lost 1/3 of their people on the registration. So their registrations are 1/3 less than they were for a free webinar. But their show-up rate was 2/3 more. Like I said, a 30% showing up, they had like a 60 to 70% show up. So that's very, very cool stuff, that when people pay, they're going to show up. And in this case, if you use a webinar as a Tripwire and you donate the money to charity, it's a double whammy, double incentive, and you're really doing good. So I love that strategy. Okay, so how about this one? And we're talking about, you're selling digital products online, you're selling online memberships. Everybody who's doing this properly, they're really killing it with physical products as a Tripwire. So here's an example of a what are those? Oh, these things are called the pedometers, right? So let's say you have a course, an online course, a yoga course, a health course, anything related to health, right? Where a pedometer could come in and be a tool along with your course. Well, if you were to go to Alibaba.com, you would find that you can buy these things for like less than $1, right? These cheap little pedometers, and you can buy them online for $8, $9, $10. But what if you bought these for less than $1, sold them at your cost, right? So now you sell them for $1 as your Tripwire, and then you upsell your course, your training, your digital information product. You get much higher take rates, much higher conversion rates, and it's just a great strategy how you're tying in a physical product with an online digital information course. It's just a brilliant strategy. I'm going to start doing more and more of this, and that's why a lot of the digital marketers have used CDs and DVDs as offers as a tripwire, going, hey, I'll send you the CD because that's a physical product, and then they upsell you on the continuity program, the monthly memberships, the newsletters, and they get you going down that road. Just a great, great strategy. This was another great one that the digital marketer team and those guys were doing. They had a little business card that was like a little soft knife, and it just did all kinds of stuff, right? And again, they were buying these things in China, getting them for peanuts, and they had a little counter, you know, a little scarcity saying, you know, their counter's going down, so you got the little home shopping network. You know, we only have 25,000 of these, we only have 20,000 of these, we only have 10,000 of these, and they were selling these to get your free one. All you got to do is pay shipping and handling, and then after they paid, and then on the thank you page, they're upselling them to a $20 a month continuity program for the newsletter and the membership. And last I heard, they had over 20,000 members paying $20 a month, so $400,000 a month. And because they did the right landing pages, the right conversion process, tracked things on the back end, and again, see, a tripwire is only as good as your back end to convert, right? You can have a great, fantastic tripwire and bring people in, but if you don't have a back end to convert, then that's where it kind of maybe will break down. But when you have the whole piece of the funnel, the lead magnets, the tripwires, the core offers, the return pass, the upsells, downsells, cross-sells, all that stuff all built in and optimized, now it's like printing money on this stuff. So it's very, very fantastic. There's a great example. Now here's a great example for everyone who does trade shows, and I love this example. So this was a trade show booth where it was a search engine optimization company, and they worked with local businesses to get them listed in Google. So they put a huge sign going the length of the booth, which was their lead magnet, you know, get people to come to the booth, get 100 free customers, dominate Google, connect with Facebook, take control of Yahoo and Bing and all these other things, right? And then what they did is they had hired people, temps, they weren't even trained, and they made a video, a doodle video, they put on an iPad, they hooked up headphones to the iPad, and when people would come near the booth, they'd say, hey, you want to get 100 free customers, watch this free video, this funny video. So here's what the cool strategy about this was, right? They had the video, and then they put on the headphones, so now they have, I think it was a 4-minute video. So now they put the video on, and they hit play, and the headphones are on. So now what happens is complete distractions are gone, right? That prospect sitting there has a headphone on, there's no distractions, he's watching this video. And then at the video, what they did is they offered a tripwire of $20 to get them on page 1 of Google for their keyword of choice. And that's a strategy that we teach and that I understand, and it's a real simple strategy of basically using Google pay-per-click, and Google will give you $100 free advertising. And anyway, use $20, get them on page 1 of Google, and they start getting leads for free. And then the upsell was a monthly continuity program to service them and keep them on there and to manage that kind of stuff for them. So just a fantastic strategy of, okay, lead magnet with a big sign, video, headphones, get rid of the distractions, tripwire, $20. See, again, from the minute they go from, hey, I'm interested in getting on page 1 of Google, and for $20 you're going to get me on page 1 of Google and get me 100 leads. Okay, I'll throw in $20 for that. Okay, now they just went from prospect to customer. Now they're a customer. They take your calls, they read your emails, they listen to you, and now you have the chance to upsell them and build rapport and trust. Whereas until you're an actual customer, they might not take your calls, they might put you off, they might blow you off, all that kind of stuff, right? So very cool. Now here's some results from that trade show. There was 2,000 attendees, give or take, that attended that trade show. They had 603 people approached the booth. They had 421 people that they got to listen to and watch the video with the headphones on. Out of those 421 people, 87 people bought the $20 tripwire. Okay? This was a 2-day convention, and then after the first day, they kind of figured out, you know, we should be upselling them right here. They were going to upsell them when they got back to the office on the phone and do that, but they started thinking, man, hey, tomorrow let's just try to upsell people right here on the spot. So the second day, they actually converted 19 people on a $500 a month, which was their core product, immediately. So that's pretty cool. Then after they went back home, they converted another 23 people. So you had 42 people paying $500 a month based on this strategy. And that's pretty nice. That's $21,300 a month in reoccurring revenue. They had about an average of a 7-month stick rate, so it generated $149,100. And you think about that. There's 200 trade shows a year they could go to. They could just blow it up. Right, so you got to get creative. You got to think out of the box. You got to think about how this really can fit in your business, because again, our goal is to get somebody to give us money and become a customer, a tripwire. And again, let's talk about tests and different things that you should do for sure as you're trying to implement your tripwire, right? Name and title, your headline, always, right? It's like you're always trying to fine-tune and really dial in and talk to and speak to your ideal customer, right? Because that's what you want to attract. Because if you get the non-ideal customer to buy your tripwire, then they're more than likely not going to buy your upsells and that kind of stuff. So it's really important. Work on your name, work on your title, check on the headline, and the landing pages. Everything about the headline is the hook, and your price point. 10 might convert better than 7. 14 might convert better than 7. You always want to split test your price points and figure out the end game. And I've seen split tests where a $7 tripwire maybe converted lower on the front end, but they had higher back end conversions on the core offer and was better financially ROI than a $20 tripwire that converted better on the front end but not as good on the back end. So you're always looking at all the way through, right? You can't just look at one piece. You got to look at all the way through, because you'll find some really interesting things happen when you do that. Then I want to talk about bundled and standalone. And again, I remember not ESPN, Sports Illustrated. So Sports Illustrated came out with that football phone, right? That you could throw the phone across the room and it was a little football, and it was like get the magazine and get the football. That's like a bundled offer. But what we found, and what's being proven most of the time, is you take that bundle offer and you make it a standalone. Like in this case of the Sports Illustrated, they'd be better off to go, hey, you guys want to get this football phone for $4? Right, and get me to buy that. Then after I've bought that and become a customer, then offer me a subscription to the magazine and probably convert better than doing it bundled. But you should try bundled. You might consider doing bundled. Might want to look at that. And you think about some of this stuff. What is the tripwire for McDonald's? Right, it's the hamburger. Right, the 50-cent hamburger and Taco Bell. So there's tripwires. As you start to think of that like this, everywhere you go, you're going to see that low price product, and you're going to look. They have profit margins. Hey, can I upsize those fries for you? Can I get something else for you? And then the other thing too, look at your digital versus physical on your tripwire. And if you can come up with a physical product to sell, it's much easier to sell a physical tripwire online than it is a digital product, especially for those people that have never bought a digital product, right? So people that are used to buying digital products online like myself, it's not that big of a deal. But for people that are new and they haven't bought stuff online, they want to get that tangible thing in the mail, and they're just crushing it with physical products as it relates to your tripwire. So with that being said, I want everyone to take some time after we get off this hangout, and brainstorm 3 tripwire ideas. And we want you to try to take this, put it into action, and write some stuff down. Hopefully you've been taking some notes. But that's the end of the thing. Now let me turn this PowerPoint off. There we go. So that's your tripwire. So we talked about lead magnets, which was your ethical bribe, your free offer to exchange for their name and email. And I'm going to say this: I think in a lot of situations we can eliminate the lead magnet, go straight to a tripwire, because anymore people are putting in bogus email addresses in for your lead magnet forms. And you know what? When you get a bogus email address put into your lead magnet form and they go into your database and your database tries to send them, that hurts your deliverability, because Google and all the ISPs out there, they see how much email you send out and how many emails are not deliverable, and then when they're not deliverable, they start to give you a rating, and the more emails you try to send that aren't deliverable, they give you a rating, and the lower your rating, you're not hitting the inbox, right? So it's really important as a side note, and we'll do another course on that someday as far as email deliverability and that kind of stuff, and what you can do to keep your emails clean and your email delivering more. Because again, when it comes to optimization and funnel optimization, we have to look at everything. How do we optimize the deliverability of the emails? How do we optimize the lead magnet, and the conversions and the opt-ins and the lead magnet? How do we optimize the optimization and the conversions on the tripwires, and then from the tripwires to the core offer? How do we increase that on that core offer? And then from there we go, okay, now our upsells, downsells, cross sells, and basically getting more money out of the same clients with product extension, joint ventures, affiliate products. How do we optimize that? And then return path, how do we get them to come back, get back into our funnels, and continue to communicate and consume our products and services? See, that's the marketing funnel blueprint, and this is just a piece of that, and that's kind of one of the things that we do, and we do this for you. So if you're one of those entrepreneurs out there and a business owner, and you feel like, Greg, I want to do this, I need this, and I want some help, check out reportcardmarketing.com, and you can go through our little process and see. We have a little application process where we'll do a strategy call with you. If you qualify, we're looking for our ideal client, and our ideal client, we believe we can double, triple, or maybe quadruple your revenues in the next year to 2 years. And in most cases, we can easily do it, again, for our ideal client. And we have a system and a funnel for doing that and getting our ideal client. So we hope I hope this has been beneficial for you. I'm a real respecter of time. I want to say thank you for taking your time to watch this. I love entrepreneurs. I love capitalism. I love innovation. I love marketing. I love what you do and I do to create jobs, stimulate the economy, and to make this world a better place. And so we want to continue to create tools, information, and even on the execution side, we have a team that does execution. Because a lot of times people fall down with, I got the concept, I've got the lead magnet, I've got the tripwire, but I don't have the skill sets to execute on the technology piece. So let's not let that keep you down. If you need some help there, you got to reach out to us at Report Card Marketing and let us know that. And we're going to be doing these on a weekly basis. So we hope you enjoy them. We want you to leave your comments, email us, let us know. And we hope that you become clients of ours. And if nothing else, we hope you refer us some people that you know could benefit from what we're doing to help people with their marketing and their online funnels and their marketing funnel blueprints, whatever we're calling that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Not even going to open, no questions today because this is going into our membership area. It'll be up for just a little bit and then into our membership area. So this is Greg Gardner saying thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, appreciate what you do, and we hope to meet you sometime soon. We hope you become a client of ours, and we hope you enjoyed this. Have a fantastic afternoon, and do what I do. Wake up every day with an attitude of gratitude. Tell somebody you love them. You always try to figure out how to end these things, right? So it's like, okay, so that's how I end things. Attitude of gratitude. Tell somebody you love them. Signing off.